And we're live, I think. Sorry, I just had my mute button on there. Yes, so this is a little bit of an experiment, as it was last week. Sorry, the other day. My days are starting to get mixed up now. So we're doing vertical format. So what that means is people can watch on their mobile, and you'll have the whole screen filled, and they can watch it as if it's like a TikTok live, I guess. But yeah, I just wanted to see how it goes in this way and if anyone likes this format. So just to explain what this stream is about. So there is a content creator. If you join this stream, then you would probably have heard of him. He's called Mauler. He's one of the very many content creators at the moment that is just getting a little bit too much negativity about them. There's a lot of content creators that are bad faith, and this stream is going to be part of a, let's say, minimum of 3 hour video, and it's going to be edited into that, and it's going to be more of a fair review, fair coverage of the one and only Longman. So that's pretty much what my intent is, and it's not going to be the only content creator I'll be doing this for. There'll be many like Nerdrotic, Hill vs Babyface, Critical Drinker, and as many as I can possibly do. So why don't I bring on my first guest if he's ready? His name's Matt. He was on last week and he had quite a good few points to make. And let's see what's going to go on this week. Anything could happen. All right. Hello, Matt.
Hey man, how's it going?
Good. Good stream last week. I made some very good points. Have you got anything? May not have been what everyone wanted said, but at the very least, it wasn't bad faith, and they were at the very least honest. So, happy to hear what your thoughts are this week. Have you got any more to add?
Yeah, sure. Last week, as I said, it was more of like a mission. I was very focused on like the criticisms. This week, I thought it would be kind of fun if I came in here in like more of a good faith and try to talk about stuff that I really like about Mauler. So kind of like an opposite of what I did last time.
Well, let's put it this way. From last week, I would never have called you bad faith. There's a difference between bad faith and saying you got like an intent to essentially destroy him, as opposed to actually say what your thoughts are. So, yeah. So go ahead. The floor is yours.
Yeah, I was kind of like thinking about stuff we were ending on since the stream ended up like eventually took on more of a discussion form.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty cool, and it made me think about some stuff. We were kind of talking about like the content Mauler does, and we were kind of talking about EFAP gaming and like maybe some criticisms of that. And I kind of figured that Mauler already had like a really good formula for EFAP gaming that he should probably employ more often. Because he did the Garrick phone streams, if you remember those.
Right. I kind of like come in like for about 5 minutes kind of thing, but that's a little bit before my time. I kind of come in when he was doing his Star Wars stuff, and I was more interested in that and the Marvel things. But yeah, yeah. What you? Sorry, yeah, I interrupted.
No, that's fine. That's fine. So he basically like brought on a lot of the guests, and Gardic Phone is like a party game. So it's kind of like Jackbox, if you know Jackbox. It's like
Not
you
aware
get
of it.
together. All right. Well, it's like you get together and you do like multiple different games. Usually, it's like you draw a picture based on a prompt, and then someone gets the picture, and they have to describe the picture, and then someone gets the description and they have to draw another picture, and eventually you see like the line, how the picture deteriorates as the line goes on. It's like a game of telephone.
So I guess the closest thing would be I know very loosely variant of charades. Is it anything like that?
Yes, I would say it's kind of like that.
Okay.
and those were really fun because it's like a very loose atmosphere. A lot of people come on. You have like some like calm chats about stuff, and it's like interspliced with just having a fun with this party game. And I think that's a really good format for EFAP gaming. It's just like a chill time with some of the guests and doing like some more fun games like that. I think they did Mario Party at some point. I think that's also a really good game to play in such a setting.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
what I figured is that they could probably do something similar they do with EFAP movies. They like watch a movie together, they watch a TV show together. I think they could play like a story-based video game that has like a co-op aspect. Like I know I really want Mauler to take a look at Baldur's Gate 3. I think that watching Mauler, Rags, and Fringy play that together would be pretty awesome.
Yeah, I mean, not necessarily, and I don't endorse doing drinking on live streams or anything because that can just go badly. But there could be some variation of a drinking game, like you do something when like a line is said too many times or something happens. You know what I mean? But yeah, that could be fun.
Yeah. So that was like an idea that I wanted to present. Which was just like freshly on my mind, so I began with that. But I wanted to like talk more generally about Mauler. I think that Mauler's a really cool creator when it comes to giving perspective. I know last time I had some criticisms about his presentation at times, but I feel like when you cut through that, Mauler can make really interesting points, which make you think about movies in ways that you haven't like before.
Yeah.
Um.
So to kind of elaborate on that, what I would say is he's essentially, and this is what most of the creators do, like Critical Drinker, etc. But because they're more able to articulate it better than most people, they kind of say everything that we kind of know, but they do it in such a way that it's a bit more deeper than the way I was thinking about it. That makes sense.
Yeah. I really get it. I think his like ability to just watch a movie and like pick up on stuff that I just wouldn't pick up on. I'd probably like breeze through that, and he can pick up on that, and he can remember like these details and then point them out as he goes. I think that's very impressive.
Yes, so same. I literally, if I'm to review a movie, I literally have to watch it about 2 or 3 times before I can even think about making a review on it.
Yeah.
I mean, unless it's very simple, like I did a Sisu review, and that was essentially saying what happened and a couple of my thoughts on it. But I couldn't really do too much other than that. To go into the kind of like, I know there's a lot of kind of planning and work that goes into it, but when he does something like with Quantumania and to that level, no way can I even approach that. I literally, back in the day when the first Matrix movie came out, I had to watch that at least twice to think what the hell happened there,
Yeah. I think he has like time to prep and stuff, but when you watch like some of the live reactions when they did Batwoman, I think that I could probably pick up on that being a bad show, not a really hot take, but I don't think I would be able to pick up like all the things that they managed to pick up as they watch. I think that's really like impressive.
Well, the thing with the EFAP TV, the movies, all that kind of stuff, what you got to think about is, like, example, the one they're doing at the moment is Loki, and that's obviously that's been and gone. Was that released all at once, or was that week to week? I can't remember. And essentially it just feels like a bit of time has passed since it's happened. So what is probably they've been doing is they've been getting all the notes together, doing their prep, etc., and then they're doing the lives knowing what they're going to do, and they prepped really well for it. Same with some of the content creators. They take down that they do their homework before they even come
Yeah.
onto camera, and then they just got it. It's kind of like it seems like they're just messing around and just talking like crap sometimes, but they really do put the work in before they even on screen.
Yeah, for sure. I was gonna bring up an example. Yeah, sure. I think it's gonna be fine. I don't know. You don't know much about Southpaw when I brought it up last week, but
Okay, so my knowledge of South Park is essentially from the beginning,
Southpaw.
right? Southpaw. Why do
Yes, the
yeah.
user.
Um,
It's fine. It's
yeah.
fine. I have an accent.
Yeah, not very much. I think he actually follows me on X. I've got to recheck
Does
that. I
he?
think he does. I think so. Um, it's either Unbridled Mail or one other channel that I have, but yeah, I think he actually follows me because I know that he's like liked and followed like a couple of posts that I put up about critical drinking and a couple of people. I've got a feeling he is, but yeah, bring up your examples and while you're doing it, I'll have a look.
Yeah. So Southpaw really liked this one show. This is basically his whole falling out with EFAP was over this show called Terriers. Which is a show that he really liked. And I watched a bit of Terriers. It's all right. What facilitated this falling out is a watch party that has been leaked since, in which he made Frey and Mauler watch this show. They came in, and as I said, like I watched a bit of the show, and I thought it was all right. And then immediately, Mauler and Frey come into a show they know basically nothing about aside from Southpaw, like seeing that it's really good, it's like the best thing ever. And they go in, they observe it, and as they go on their first viewing, they're able to pick up on like these different inconsistencies in the show and just immediately point them immediately like voice very coherently what the issue is. Which I think is a perfect example of Mauler's like very good observation skills when it comes to critiquing media. I guess he has some experience, but I think it comes with like some general talent as well. Like part of it feels like it's just like a natural skill for him, which, as I said, I think is very impressive. It's kind of sad where it led in that case of Terrier specifically, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'll give another example of that. In fact, I'll give two: one for Mauler and actually one for Fringy as well. So the one for Mauler is the Secret Invasion series that they did, following that whole series. And my God, what a letdown that was! But just to say that literally I'm so glad I watched the whole series that they did, because I think I went for I don't know if I mentioned this on last week, but I saw the first episode. I got to Black Man going out in freaking Russia, and I just turned off the freaking phone. I just couldn't go any further than that. So I started watching theirs, and I got all the way to the end of it through them, and to the point of Drax's arm on Amelia Clark is just that's some kind of other stupid, But what I was really impressed with is that Mauler got so to the point where, do you remember, or did you see that series when I was talking about Secret Invasion?
I watched their EFAP on it.
Okay. So did you see the part where when Nick Fury was being dusted during Infinity War and they actually changed it?
It sounds familiar to me.
So just to remind you, the original Infinity War was him trying to get the thing for Captain Marvel to call her in, and he's like he's about to say motherfucker, but then it just stopped in time. He dusted just before he's about to swear, and it was like a really comical moment at the end, like the post credit scene in Infinity War, and then during Secret Invasion, they'd done the exact same scene and shown him as a flashback, but it was like really kind of dark, like, oh no. and that was it. They actually retconned and changed the
Uh-huh.
actual scene to say, to basically fit the narrative of, oh, that depressed me so much, which isn't Nick Fury. But
Right, right.
the point is that they've got that much detail. That's impressive.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely sounds familiar now that you caught me up on that. And yeah, I think so. I think that both Mauler and Fringy are very good at this. It's just like spotting things in the moment that like I would need time and like maybe multiple watchings to catch up on.
Yeah, yeah. The example with Fringy, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. It was on the Marvels, and he noticed, and the other two didn't. He noticed that as the Marvels was the thing was, the logo at the start was fading out. There was an X that stood
Mm,
just a split second longer than everything else, suggesting obviously the X-Men are coming soon. But it was just
yeah.
that subtle.
Yeah, I
It
think
just
that
is
was Fringy that picked up
again
on that. Yeah.
attention. Yeah, again, as just following what you're saying, is attention to detail, which is why I like watching them. They know their stuff. They're awake.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I think he picked up on, was it Fringy? I think when they were looking at the trailer, someone from the crew picked up on the fact that the trailer depicts the main bad guy dying. I didn't realize when I watched it. I was like, oh yeah, that is what's happening.
Yeah, I haven't actually seen the Marvels, and thank God I haven't. But essentially, as they go towards the jump point, I think it is, and the bad guy dies. That part of it was in the trailer, and it's like a
Yeah,
huge spoiler for the whole thing. Like, who does that?
like if you made a trailer for Lord of the Rings that showed them throwing the ring into the volcano, it's like you
Yeah,
don't do that.
yeah. Just shows me like Gollum just falling into his death, and then the next thing you want to clip into this trailer is obviously Frodo making it. Like really? Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Any other points?
um, that was like the main thing that was on my mind. I think there's like some general stuff. I think that very, uh, having some personal experience, I got to say that Mauler and like the crew are very good at live streaming because it's something I struggled with when I did it. But that's like practice, I think, mostly. Um,
Yeah, Mauler's he's actually what do you call them? He's also a public speaker. He has loads of experience in that is told us about. So it's no surprise that it's just the live
yeah,
stream stuff just comes easy to him. So
yeah, that's what I would say.
yeah, I mean, not just on this. I've had a previous channel which it doesn't exist anymore, but I literally the first live stream I ever did was probably, and I have no idea, it was a complete blur, but it was about 2 hours, and that was just by myself. And when you're just doing it to a camera, and it's just completely and utterly, it's not a natural thing to do. Um, and for him to do it, like I know it's easier to be like talking to people like we are now. It's
Yeah,
easier to like bounce off each other, but to do it alone, Jesus, that's some other
yeah.
kind of skill.
Yeah, it's, I always feel like the thing you like struggle with the most is like having dead air, especially
Yeah,
when you're like a beginning live streamer, so you don't have an audience to like talk to. You're just on your own, and you know that you should probably be saying something, but you also know that you can't like constantly talk because that's gonna be annoying if someone were to rewatch that. So
yeah,
you're trying to strike like some weird balance there.
yeah, yeah, and you kind of you what am I saying? You kind of like go over old points. You're kind of looking at the screen. Have I like look at your bullet points? Have I covered this and this? And you start panicking after a bit. So there comes that part where I mean, when you first start streaming, I think a good amount of time would be, I don't know, half an hour or so, and then just call it quits. You don't have to go on like a freaking 2 days live stream like the freaking EFAP group do, but it's always better to kind of stop before you think you're finished.
Yeah.
That way you go on a high as opposed to think, oh, what do I say? What do I say? But that's just by yourself. When it's like you have friends at your side, like Fringy and Rags with Mauler, it's just so much easier to just chat bollocks for hours.
Yeah, I actually brought up something that I haven't even thought about, but I think that deserves like pointing out and praise as well. Going for like 8 hours, like continuously on stream, that's really impressive.
What I found impressive was when they did the Jack Saint thing. So they went on so long that because YouTube only lets you go about 12 hours, and they had to take a break and start another stream as a part 2 on the same thing, and go for another few hours just to cover. And by the way, Jack Saint's video was only an hour compared to any of the Marvel movies, for
Yeah.
God's sake. Like, they just went on for frick. I actually watched the whole thing at the time, and I was like, I need sleep. This isn't okay.
Yeah, and I think it comes kind of like a given, and it's a bit of a meme to like complain when the EFAPs are short and stuff like that. But like even like in real life, when you hang out with friends, you get tired after a couple hours, just like hanging out and talking. At least I do. Like I need like maybe like 3 to 4 hours, and then I'm like primed to get on my own and just be like recharge. But they can go for like 11 hours, which is like crazy to me.
Yeah. Like, yeah, I get what you mean. Like, I've had friends where like about a couple of hours later and you're just trying to go to bed and like, can I just call you a fucking taxi? Get the hell out of my home. I don't want to know you anymore. I'm disowning you as my friend. Just get out. I can't stand your voice anymore. Go away. Right. But yeah. But then there's times where, like, again, because I'm in America, and every so often I might get a call from my friends that, like, back home, and then we'll talk for, like, literally, I think the limit, sorry, not limit, I think the longest one was about 6 hours I talked to someone. Like, and it was just got to the point of, how's the weather? Like, what's weather? I've lost all sense of time and space at this point. Okay, bye. Speak to you in another 6 months. Yeah, I just don't know how they do it, but I think it's also like I don't know how, I think I mentioned it last week. I don't know how you feel about it, but when they just go on tangents all the time, when they're not actually talking about the movie or the TV show they're trying to actually cover, and they're just talking about like elevators and freaking snow and goo and just like, the Don, that kind of thing. Yeah. Sorry.
Talk about Jeb Bush for 3 hours. Yeah.
Yeah, don't get me wrong; it makes a good like short or EFAP highlight. But come on, we wanted you to review the Marvels, for God's sake.
Yeah, it depends on the tangent, I guess. Yeah, and I think it can be annoying in the moment, but you gain like an appreciation for them in retrospect.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the Jeb Bush thing for me, because I was there for that stream and I was like, why are we talking about this? What's happening? But nowadays I think it's fucking hilarious. It's like one of the best parts of that stream.
Yeah, and I can't remember whether it's on the stream at the time, but or on the superchat catch up, the EFAP shorts, but when they got people to actually Photoshop the Jeb into the background of the freaking girl, that was class. Yeah, like what I was going to ask was again, like last week, honestly, was a blur. It's like it lasted like 5 hours or so at the end of it. So by the end of it, I was like, I forgot how to do words and things. So if I hadn't asked you last time, are there any kind of like guests that or content creators you think maybe I want them to cover?
To cover, That's interesting. I really, for the longest time now, I really wanted them to talk about Birdman, if you know who that is.
Not aware, no.
So Birdman is a guy that does something similar to what Jay used to do. He does responses to CinemaSins in the CinemaSins formula. So
Okay.
he sends the CinemaSins basically. Um, and sometimes he makes like excellent points when he's responding to CinemaSins when they cover a good movie and they like just fishing for criticisms. He does some really good videos for that. But sometimes CinemaSins covers really bad movies and they make really good points, and he
Hmm.
still defends that movie. And I would really like to see them like kind of talk about that. I know that his response to CinemaSins Rise of Skywalker was fucking abysmal, like where he
Yeah.
defends some part of the movie that were fucking horrible. I think he defends the last line with like Ray Skywalker. I was like, no, please don't do that, man.
Yeah. Just a second. Go bring a comment up. Birdman did a video with Shadiverse and somebody else going over CinemaSins Alita Battle Angel video. Did you see that?
No, because I didn't see Alita, sadly.
Okay. Okay.
Um, yeah.
Well, do you ever like? I mean, unfortunately, and this is the thing that I kind of need to stop myself in my own channel, because the point of having a review channel myself is that I need to start reviewing things myself, and I have to see things myself. But how often do you like? So like with like I just told you about Marvels and Secret Invasion, how often do you feel that you don't actually want to watch the thing because you heard so many bad things about it, so you just watch EFAP or the Critical Drinker or something, watch them review it instead of doing it yourself?
I feel like I had this with something. So in general, when it comes to, for example, Marvel, I don't watch Marvel in principle. I haven't seen a Marvel thing since fucking hell, probably Endgame actually. So for a while
Right.
now, I only watch EFAP cover Marvel. So like everything I know about Phase 4 and 5 is from EFAP. Um,
Hmm.
because I kind of just gave up on that. But I'm trying to think like if there was something that I was like maybe interested in seeing and then went to the Critical Drinker or Mauler to see what they thought of it. Hmm.
So
I feel I
have
did.
sorry.
No, go on. I'm thinking. So
So, do you feel that, I mean, because of the current climate of Hollywood and all the rest of it being like tip boxes and all the sludge that's coming out, do you feel more often than not that they're stopping you from watching things because of their coverage?
hmm. I'm not sure if stopping is the right term. Um, it's like some of these things I probably wouldn't like know about and care about if it wasn't for them. There would be probably like the Marvel stuff, but there's definitely stuff that I was kind of interested in, and I just heard from them about it, and then just kind of went, okay, I probably won't be like looking into this. I think that was the Witcher shows on Netflix, because I'm kind of like into The Witcher, the books and the video games,
Hmm.
and then I heard like about the horrible spin-off and like how they treated Henry in the last seasons from Drinker. I was like, okay, I don't think I'm gonna watch any of this shit.
Okay. On the flip side of it, has there been anything where you've been kind of nervous about, but since Mauler or EFAP has started to review it and going through the episodes or whatever, that you actually found, right, I'm not going to watch any of their EFAPs anymore until I've seen this
Yes, Squid
because
Game.
they praise it. Yeah. Okay. Mine would have been Last of Us.
Mm, the TV show.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I actually the first episode that they, well, obviously episode one that they covered at the start of it, I actually found myself that, okay, before the next week, because that week I was actually sick with COVID and had time in my hands,
Mhm.
I thought, okay, I'm going to go on YouTube and I'm going to watch the complete, because I've got an Xbox. I haven't got PlayStation. It's only on PlayStation, I think. I watched the entire gameplay run through. That took me about 20 hours to go through both
Yeah.
the two games before I started on episode 2. By the time they got to that one, and then I knew the whole thing that was going to happen before they covered it. Obviously, there's a little bit of deviation with the TV show, but yeah, they liked it so good it essentially ruined my life for a week.
Fair enough. Yeah. As I said, for me it would be Squid Game for sure. That was like a thing that everyone kept recommending me, and I sometimes can be like a contrarian. And when everyone recommends me something, I'm like, I'm not gonna watch that. It's probably shit. It's just kind of like a quirk. I think a lot of people have that, and it's kind of like a weird thing that people have for no reason. And then I watched EFAP, and I'm like, oh, they really praising this. I'll probably check it out. And I really like Squid Game after that. And aside from Squid Game, I think what else was that? Um,
I honestly can't. I mean, I know Mauler done his, like, not the EFAP, but he done his own video on Infinity War where it's Unbridled something or other that's good.
I think
I
it's
forget all
praise.
of his words. Yeah, that's the one. Unbridled Praise. I know, like, obviously everyone and their mother had already seen Infinity War by the time we made this video, but um, I forget my train of thought there. I'm really sorry. Yeah, outside that was it. Outside of that, I'm struggling to think of the good stuff that they think. Oh, that was actually superb. Can you think of anything else?
Um, I really want to watch Underwater, but I still haven't gotten to it. So that would be like one of them, which is like a EFAP primed me for watching something, but I still haven't like found the time to watch it.
Okay,
Um,
okay.
I watched
Um,
Arcane before, so no. Yeah, that's all I can think about for now. Maybe if I think of
okay.
something else, I'll bring it back.
Okay. If they had to do any kind of retro review, like things in the past, outside of the obvious one, which is Buffy, is there anything that you'd like them to cover?
Uh, hmm. I would like them to cover the Hobbit trilogy. I think that would be really fun.
Okay. Just to let you know, yeah, it's the token share. I watched Arcane. Thanks to them covering it.
Yeah.
So that's good. One thing I actually wanted to ask someone this week is that after the, I'm not going to say bad faith because it wasn't. He was being honest, but after the slight negativity for Rags last week, um,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on Rags? Because his kind of mixed review. A lot. It's kind of like, I don't know if you've ever heard of this, but there's something in England called Marmite. It's essentially a spread,
Yeah.
and the whole thing
Yeah.
is you either love it or hate it. I
Yeah.
think he's one of those type of creators. Like, what are your thoughts on Rags?
I think I kind of brought it up that when I was talking about the treatment of guests on the last stream, which was like my final complaint, which was mainly about Rex, because I feel Rex can be very aggressive at times. Um,
He can be, but outside of that, like on the day-to-day stream where everyone's
yeah.
friends, everyone's getting on, what are your thoughts on him?
Um, I think so. Rex for me is kind of like a mixed bag. There's stuff I really like about Rex. I think he can be very funny. For example, I think some of his jokes are fucking hilarious. Um, and I like his honesty most often, because sometimes he can come off as rude, and I think sometimes he can get carried away. But like usually, uh, I feel like Rags. How to word this? Not even like he's not going to sugarcoat it. Rags is like gonna say something that maybe most people wouldn't say, but it's true, right? It's like, and
Like
you feel like, oh,
drop the mic type of thing.
yeah, yeah. It's like, and you're like, I'm glad someone said that. Like, I wouldn't probably say that, but I'm glad someone did. That type of stuff, and there's like stuff I like about Rex, but then I think that since Wolf is gone, he was kind of thrown off in the dynamic, and I think
Right.
Rex is because Wolf was kind of also aggressive,
Yeah.
um,
Oh yeah.
which worked well because you had these two aggressive people that didn't agree all the time, so it meant that they kind of mellowed each other out at times, or they like interjected to the other person and like stopped them or something like that. It's like you have some of the funniest arguments between Wolf and Rex whilst elevator music is playing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um, and
Uh,
I feel
yeah.
like that's kind of missing. So Rex can just go really hard on people. He can come off very aggressive, and I feel he can sometimes like interrupt people way too much.
Hmm. Do you feel that because again this is going back to like Jack Saints and stuff, I kind of felt Wolf was essentially almost to have a heart attack like on the stream, because he was going that hard that like, oh my god, you're such bad faith, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. And say, oh my god, you just played that one little snippet and my freaking conversation went on for 20 minutes. You piece of shit. How you sad little boy. All that kind of stuff. I was like, dude, calm yourself down. But my point to that is, do you think that because I was the whole yin and yang thing, where like Mauler is the analytical one, he's like he's not really interested in getting into arguments with anyone. He's more like, okay, I just want to get to the truth no matter what that means. All emotion is just irrelevant. I just want to get to the pure products. And then there's Rags, who doesn't necessarily go as hard as Wolf, but I think with there needs to be another dynamic there, which I think Fringy brings to it, and I don't even know what that is, to be honest. I think it's just like I don't know, the kind of James May to Jeremy Clarkson, Richard Hammond from Top Gear, if you ever watched that.
Yeah,
It's like the blithering idiot of the three, I guess, in a nice way, because it's really good to watch. But I just feel two hotheads kind of is too much. How do you feel about that?
um, I don't know. I kind of like the two hotheads dynamic. Um, I think the dynamic they have right now, because I feel like Fringy is like the opposite. Fringy is instead like very similar to Mauler as a character, more so than Wolf and Rex were two similar characters before. Um, I'm not gonna say like it's a bad dynamic. I don't hate Fringy. I think that sometimes you can get hung up on like weird details, but that's not really like a criticism that can happen to anyone. Um, but I preferred when it was smaller Wolf and Rex.
Okay. That said, then, because again, this is obviously going to be edited into the video, I just have to ask: is there any kind of favorite lines or memories or any kind of like positive attributes that you could associate with Fringy?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think we already mentioned like the perceptiveness, and I think Free very much has the same thing. I think sometimes he can like pick up on stuff that even Mauler doesn't. Like we brought up with the accent Marvels. Free also is very good at like just quickly like finding context for stuff on the stream. It's very useful to have like someone like that on the like. And particularly, it seems to me that Freeney is almost always like well prepared going into something. Like
Right.
he was going to be the guy with the most knowledge about what was being talked about, like someone that does the proper research and everything. I actually just now listened back to the Boogie documentary live stream, um, and yeah, in that like it came off as Free like did his homework and like he knew about all this different drama that was like coming up and like the context in which these things were played during the documentary, which was very like handy.
Yeah. It just seems to me that no matter what the guest or whoever is like talking about on the stream, he already knows like about 10 facts before
Yeah.
they've even mentioned what they're talking about. Like there was I think it was something either on a highlight or an actual stream that come out not too long ago, where they had a guy that was like who does food, and essentially he had siblings, so and they were very poor, so he had to make sure that he was able to make different things with like the least amount of stuff but make the most out of it. Then he like grew to like this really nice chef channel,
Hmm.
and all the stuff that this guy was talking about, like about the food and about those talking. Well, the conversation obviously always goes towards Australia and everything, trying to kill them. But he seems to already know the subject matter before the guest is even talking.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely feel that. Uh, hmm. Like I personally sometimes have problems with what I call like a Wikipedia Andy, which is like a person that just like Wikipedia's everything and then pretends like they're very smart. And I feel like Fringy is the good version of that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, here's the in England we kind of have a name for it, which is he has very good pub quiz knowledge.
Yeah, I get
Meaning,
that. Yeah,
yeah, lots of facts and stuff, but nothing really to back them up. Well, he does can back them up because they're facts, but there's nothing more depth than the facts, if that makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah, yeah.
Outside of
Well,
yeah, um, yeah. So yeah. Any more thoughts? Sorry, I know that went on a bit of a tangent there.
no, that's fine. And like if it comes to some specific like funny moment with Fringy, I think the most iconic one is obviously the goo argument. Um, I think that's like in everyone's mind. I'm trying to think of something else though, like something maybe a bit more obscure, which is like a very funny Fringy line. Um, hmm.
Well, I know that when he was first ever introduced, and by the way, you mentioned Wikipedia. Had to look this up. Apparently, everyone thought he was a frog. Um,
Yeah,
because he essentially was just this green person thing with just very white eyes, but there wasn't any kind of features to distinguish him. And Wolf actually thought he was a frog until we put like his cape and everything on top of him.
yeah. That was the original me. Was it a Froggled or something like that?
Yeah, yeah, which he dispelled apparently. But yeah, yeah. Any other stuff that you have about Mauler?
Nothing concrete right now.
Okay,
If you have
okay.
like any more questions, I know you had the questionnaire. I didn't answer most of that in your last live stream because the last time I came in, I had like a whole basically script prepared. Um,
Yeah, honestly, I kind of halfway through that stream, I completely abandoned the questionnaire because,
yeah,
as I said, it turned more into into a conversation than anything.
yeah.
Um, Bear with me actually, then, because I'm just gonna try and find it. I'll just be a second on Google.
No, that's fine. Running into the
Um,
issue I talked about, the dead air.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Just talk amongst yourself. Second. Um, yeah, getting back to like all the detail, one thing, like, and I'll say this about the Jack Saint thing, is that the amount of prep, because literally, and I know the whole concept of EFAP is because it's called every frame a pause, they was doing every single goddamn frame. But he seems to literally had something to dispel every single sentence that he said. It's like, so if you just kindly join me, and I've just got this video on here, I've got this link here that's like about 5 years ago, which dispels that. And it's like, how much, what do you do outside of these live streams? Because is it like the Matrix in behind your eyes or something, where you just get the Matrix feeding like the green symbols that keep trickling down? What is in your brain? Um, I can't seem to find it. Type. Forms. Here we am.
Yeah, when it comes to like
Here we
the
are.
prep and the responses, I didn't watch the entirety of the Jack Saint one because I just have like especially in his case, I struggle with people I find cringe to watch them. It's like very painful for me physically. The one I remember is the what was it called? Right Opinion, which was about rags, and that was
Hmm.
also very well done.
Right. Okay. I found the form. So what I'm going to do here is an exercise. Even if you have already answered the question I'm about to ask, just like bring up something, just for the
Yeah,
sake of the rapid fire, right?
yeah.
So, okay. How long have you known about Mauler / EFAP, and how long have you been subscribed to them, if you are, which I'm assuming you are?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, Jesus. I had to find Mauler. It would be around Infinity War, so that's like 2016,
Okay.
maybe. When did Infinity War come out, actually? Let me Google this.
I believe it's 17
2018.
before. Oh, 1 year out.
Jesus.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're both wrong.
Yeah,
uh,
no, I remember it now because I remember that the end game was supposed to be 2019, and I was like, how can they time it? So the last movie of the franchise, not the well, it seems like the last of the
yeah.
franchise. It just, how can it not just come out on like the 2020?
Yeah.
Like, can you just give it an even number, round number even? Okay.
Yes, so I discovered Mauler around that time, but at the time I wasn't following him. It's a bit of a complicated story. So I mentioned Birdman and CinemaSins. I used to be a big CinemaSins fan, actually.
Okay.
Um, then I kind of realized that, wow, these videos kind of suck. And so I
Yeah.
switched over into the people that criticized CinemaSins. And
Hmm.
I found Birdman, and through Birdman, I found a channel that at the time was called Cinema Since, which is nowadays JXE. Um,
Okay.
and he did his response to Cinema Since Infinity War, and he used EFAP clips during that.
Okay.
And so I watched that, and I like saw like these funny guys talking. I was like, "Hey, that's pretty funny. Like, there's some like pretty cool moment." And I was like, "I wonder what this show is." So I go to the link and I watch the show. I was like, "Wow, that's pretty cool." But I kind of felt like, but at the time they were like covering topics that I wasn't really into because I got into Marvel around Infinity War and then went back and like retrospect watched everything. Um, so at first I watched the Infinity War and then kind of moved on, and then I saw them have Shadiversity on, who
Hmm.
I really watched at the time because I was into like historical stuff. Still am, just not into Shad anymore. Um, but at the time I was like, oh wow, they have Shad on, and I think from that moment on I started like watching the channel basically completely. Went back and now I've basically seen the entire like back catalog of the initial episodes.
Okay. Um, Outside of the creators that they've absolutely decimated over the years, are there any creators that, well, I say inverted air quotation marks creators, are there any that you used to like that they've turned you off from, apart from the Sins?
Hmm. Cinema wins, for sure.
Hmm.
Yeah, it was kind of the thing that as I was switching off cinema since I was like going the opposite direction. I was like, oh, yeah, this guy is great because he's doing the opposite, and I at the point at that time I thought he was being pretty factual. Um, it was with VFAP I realized that he makes absolutely horrible points. Cinema wins for sure. I'm trying to think of someone else because I think there were other people that I used to watch. Phil Mento. I remember watching a few Phil Mento videos, being like, "Oh, this guy is pretty good." And then I watched the EFAP coverage. I was like, "Yeah, I guess he had like a screw up moment." And then eventually, like they covered him so many times, you kind of was like, "Oh wow, Phil Mento isn't very good at like talking about movies." um, those are like the two examples I can think of the top of my head. Yeah.
I actually have one, which is this isn't anything that they specifically went out and destroy. Well, not to destroy them; they just deconstruct. again, bad word. They cover them and they take their stuff apart and say, well,
Mhm.
that's really not correct, type of thing. Not in a bad way, just how they
Mhm.
go. But one they kind of mentioned a couple of times, like years ago, emergency awesome. If you ever heard of that one.
No.
So emergency awesome is essentially pretty much as something comes out. It's one of those speculation channels as well that, oh, what
Mhm.
could this mean? What could that trailer mean and all that? And there wasn't really anything behind what he was saying. But this is before I even thought about being a creator myself, and it was just a case of is there really anything you're going to add? Because you said this, and this, you've mentioned that, but you're not actually saying any of your own thoughts on this. You're just listing out information, like, as you say before, a Wikipedia type of thing.
Mhm.
And when Mauler kind of took him apart, not in a whole stream, but like off of comments, it's like, yeah, the glass is shattered. I don't like this guy anymore. I think
Yeah.
he's scum. Not that strong, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah. Actually,
but yeah,
I brought it up and then I forgot about it. But the right opinion. I used to watch him. I was really into commentary YouTube, and the right opinion was like a really big guy. And then I watched that. I was like, holy shit, he fucked up really bad on this, which made
yeah.
me look very critically on him. And then I found out about other situations he was in, and since then I don't really like him anymore.
hmm Now, one of the things I'm interested in is, and I mentioned this within the video as well, is has Mauler in any kind of way, and this isn't a bad thing, has he ever kind of ruined other content for you in your enjoyment of that content, in the respect of, because when I started watching the videos, like the really long ones, like Black Widow and various
Mhm.
others, like the 4 or 5 million hours long, um, did it ever ruin other videos and live streams for you? In the case of, okay, so you'd watch like Nerdrotic or the Drink away like 20 minutes, and like, oh, that was quick, that's gone, that's over, and then because you're watching Mauler and it's going on for like about 5 days per video, it seems like,
Yeah.
um, it's like, I think the way I describe it in my video is, it's like going in the car 100 miles an hour, and like you get used to that speed, and then you go in a car driven by someone else that is going along about 40 miles an hour, and it just seems so slow, but it really
Yeah.
isn't slow. You're just used to the 100 miles an hour. In the same way of Mauler, you like, okay, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to enjoy this for hours on end, as opposed to, I don't really want to watch Drinker or Nerdrotic anymore because they they don't cover it in any depth compared to Mauler. Have you
Mhm.
ever felt anything like that?
Oh yeah, for sure. I would say that Mauler is like the impetus for me discovering my love of long form content, and nowadays I don't really consume anything else. Because if you asked me like before that, you were like, "Oh, watch a 4 hour live stream," I'd be like, "You're crazy! Like, what am I gonna do with a 4 hour live stream?" And I kind of discovered the practicality of it. Of like, I can play a video game and listen to someone at the same time, and and I find it really like enjoyable as an experience. And yeah, ever since then, I just can't really do like the shorter videos anymore. Like I since you brought it up, I tried to watch some Nerdrotic, and I don't think Gary's like that bad or anything. Um, but it certainly is like I just don't think, how would I say this? It's like a 20-minute video of like an article. I was like, I would want like that to be like a longer discussion, and I think like in that way, like Mauler has destroyed basically almost all forms of content for me. Then I just prefer long form content over anything now.
Yeah, I kind of, and not that I really watch too many of his videos, because he's someone I like in Friday Night Tights as opposed to watching him alone. And
Mm,
I'm not talking about Nerdrotic. I'm talking about what's his name, Ryan Kino Outpost. Now he's bringing out like 10 million videos a day. It seems like 5-minute videos about an article that he's read, and outside of oh my god, I can't freaking believe this, total idiots. Outside of that is essentially just reading the article that's
Yeah.
on screen with him, and I can't keep watching stuff like that all the time because outside of it being news, I don't really kind of have any need to watch it. As far as
Mm.
Mauler, he doesn't just bring the thing up and say that's it. He actually really deep dives, and you can kind of get lost in it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so that was the first rapid fire question that we went on for a while. So, if you haven't mentioned this before, what's your favorite video / stream from Mauler?
Oh, that's tough. When it comes to
Okay,
videos,
then, if you had to do like top 3 or top 5 or
top
something,
three
then
or top five, Jesus. When it comes to like a video, I would actually really highlight his. Wasn't it Unbridled Praise? It might have been just like a video essay. Not sure. It was on the Fava.
okay,
Which I really liked. It was very refreshing to see like Mauler being very positive about something. And it was about a really good movie, so that's a really good one, I think. And he really does an excellent job analyzing like all the imagery, all the maybe, like hidden details, but also like the obvious subtext that's there. Like he very well points out and like just shows you the movie properly. I think. And then I'm mostly like focusing on EFAPs since he produces way more of those, and I tend to have less problems with them because the stuff I brought up the last time I was here. I really like some of the older ones.
right.
The Jared Genesis one is, I think, quite possibly one of the most iconic things like ever, and it's so fucking hilarious to listen back to. um, every now and then I go back to several chosen EFAPs. Let me actually take a look at this. I would say the Golem one is very fun to listen back to. I
Yeah.
think it's a very entertaining stream. It's one of the better ones. I think they did the format really well. I would actually really like to see more of that, like that the crew plays video games and then they like get together and like retrospectively look at them playing that game. I think that's a really novel concept. Um,
Okay.
I actually, I'm bringing up some recent stuff because it's on my mind because I haven't watched the older ones in a while. The Walking with Monsters one was excellent because they reminded me of my childhood.
Oh, I'm actually gonna watch that one tomorrow.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's fucking amazing, like really good. It's shorter and it's not like they have like some groundbreaking insights, but it was just fun, like kind of watching it with them because I remember watching it as a kid and absolutely loving that shit. And hmm, I would be like and I'm a lot. I think I answered well enough without like stalling you here for that.
It's okay. No, it's good. It's good. One thing which, and this isn't on the form that I made. What would you think about EFAP or even more the shorts? I know there was this kind of comment last week where, look, come on, you're doing way too many live streams. Do your own videos. It's what people have gone on to subscribe star and all the rest of it for you.
Mhm.
I just want Mauler content, not EFAP content. So as it wouldn't take too long to kind of make, what do you think about Mauler shorts, as in the vertical form like what the live stream is right now, but just shorts?
I think it's an interesting idea to think about. Though well, I think we kind of do you mean it in like a context of like a completely its own thing, or do they just like take a segment and then cut it up and like re-upload it like some people do?
I'd say that yes, whether we upload, but I was also more thinking of a kind of timed thing. Like, have you ever seen like kind of critical drinkers open bars where okay, you got 30 seconds to give your thoughts on this? It's like, oh yeah, so it's a cinematography creator, and the guys are acting really well, blah 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 blah, and like done. Okay, 29 seconds, owned it, kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
But that kind of like speed reviews kind of thing, but for shorts.
I think that's actually a very great idea. Yeah, I think that would really work for Mauler, and certainly would address some of the issues of like maybe like getting more content out in like the video form, as you said.
Yeah, and he can really do something in about half an hour, like Chris
Yeah.
Stuckman thinks that everyone does.
Yeah, for sure. that's that's been a very recent trend. I noticed that there's a lot of Stuckman coverage.
Yeah, I think Madam Web didn't really help him too much, to be honest with you. Like I actually outside of EFAP, I watched that whole. The thing is, right, and this is what I really don't like about when they pick on a creator that is obviously bad faith or like just pissing around or something, right? But because they're covering it, and because I'm watching their video, I start get suggestions of the videos that that creator has made. So at the moment, like if I like get my phone and start scrolling down, I'm probably gonna see about 4 or 5 Chris Stuckman videos and like get off my feed. Come on. I know Google's listening to you, but this is unfair. So I kind of like clicked on please don't recommend this channel.
Yeah, fair enough. I think I was trying to block some channel recently. It's fucking impossible. I hate YouTube. Like, I absolutely hate it as a website. Like, run by absolute idiots. Like, basic features like blocking channels just don't exist.
Right. I really do think that's a bad thing as well, because if you are getting like comments of people who are like just really trying to mess you up, I don't just want to put in words that say I don't want this to appear in my chat. I don't want that person interacting with me whatsoever.
Yeah.
I would just have them out of my life. I want to block them. Why they haven't had that as a feature so far, I have no idea. Plus the fact, and I don't really want to get too personal with this, but I've had people in my actual life where they're watching my channel and they're kind of taking a piss out of me. I don't want them watching my videos. I don't want anywhere near it. So I would love to be able to get their YouTube profile or their username or whatever and just block them so they can't see it. Not just being able to do like hide comments isn't enough. You need to be able to actually block them.
Yeah, it's really weird. It's like a really basic feature that I just don't get why it doesn't exist on the website.
Yeah. Agreed. Just going to bring up the last couple of. I was about to say super chats. Not even monetized yet. Last couple of comments. There you go. Evening. Hope you can stay on topic without me and Shammy randomly starting conversations about nothing to do with EFAP. It sounds fun if you want it. Actually, come on. The link's at the top if you want to come on. I'm more than happy to talk bollocks with you for another 5 or 6 hours if you wanted to do that. No, I appreciate that though.
The link works this time.
Oh yeah. I'm not just a pretty. I was going to say face, but I'm not just a pretty spoon with some mayo on it. I love the EFAP movies on the 100. Can't even speak. I love the EFAP movies on the 101 Dalmatians movies. Easily one of my funniest EFAP movies with some really iconic moments. Have you seen that one? I haven't.
I think it might have been that or Cruella. I'm not really sure. I think one of them had J. Longbone. I just remember it being pretty funny. But that's kind of like those Disney remakes. They're like a blur for me. I don't really think about them. When I think about them, they're like kind of mashed together for me.
Yeah. I kind of liked Cruella, but only because I like oh my god, again, names aren't really doing very well for me. What's the name of plays Cruella? Emma Stone, that's it.
Yeah.
I like that because of like it's kind of my guilty pleasure because I like The Devil Wears Prada, and it's a similar kind of thing to that in my mind. Outside of that, though, yeah, I think I know there's a whole trope of you kind of relate more to the villains these days as opposed to the heroes. Like Thanos is a prime example of that. I just want to get rid of half the universe. Like natural selection isn't doing its job right now, but type of thing. But I think they're playing to that too much and trying to get us to sympathize with the villains way too much.
Yeah.
Where they're supposed to be villains. I get the fact that with Thanos, they made him a clever villain, but at the same time, he's still a villain. And, you don't want to make them
Yeah.
the protagonist.
Yeah, I definitely agree. There's been like a shift because Thanos, at the end of the day, Thanos isn't meant to be correct. He's just someone that you can kind of understand where he's coming from.
Yeah, it's a
Um,
PRV.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas I feel like they're now they're kind of trying to make the villains be correct in the story, and the hero is kind of wrong. And I just don't
Yeah.
think that works as a formula. Usually, it can work sometimes, but if you do it like all the time, it just doesn't work anymore.
Yeah, and similar vein, the Joker. Now, love that movie. Can't actually remember too much from it apart from the train scene, the Robert De Niro being shot in the
Yeah.
face scene, and the obviously the iconic like get on top of the car and just marvel at the chaos around you. Outside of that, I don't remember too much about it. I actually only seen it once. But now they're doing the second one with Lady Gaga. I think they're just. I think that was lightning in the bottle, and I don't think they should have gone any further than
Yeah,
that.
I definitely think going for a musical angle, like it sounds interesting. Like it's either gonna be great or more likely it's gonna be horrible.
Well, the way they could do well, there's two ways they can go with it in my mind. Is that they can go down the really bad route of they want to make it a musical and they just happen to put a story around it, but that they're just getting the musical at all costs, as opposed to actually working in it where it makes sense. Where, say, what's her name, Harlequin. Like obviously because she's like crazy nuts, and that they kind of make it like through her point of POV that she's seeing the world through song, and but everyone else is like, what the hell is going on with this crazy bitch? They could do it in that kind of way, which would possibly half work,
Yeah,
but at the same time that would also be the whole trope that's going on these days of I really hope they don't make her the main character out over the Joker, because that's even worse.
yeah. I think the more core problem really is that I don't think you need a sequel to the Joker.
No, you don't.
I
Not
think
at all.
Yeah, I think the movie stands on its own, and if anything, I feel it's better for being just on its own. It's a
Yeah,
complete story.
yeah. It's essentially that's the money cow again, because they saw something that makes money. Okay, let's try do that again, and let's put a chick in it and make it lame and gay. But yeah, I can't see a freaking woman being put in the movie without thinking of South Park anymore. It just can't happen. Yeah, it's just they can't do it.
Yeah,
Um,
which is a kind of a shame. I think that what they should have taken away from it is, oh, we need more movies in this vein, but
mhm.
you don't need like literally a new Joker. You just need like a movie in the style of the Joker, where like a single director can just make his own thing that's kind of inspired by this, and you give him like creative freedom, kind of.
Like I'm so sorry I can't remember his name because I think he's died, but the Joker in Batman, the Christian Bale ones, the Dark Knight Rises.
Heath
Now,
Ledger.
yeah, that's the fella. If they were to do a Heath Ledger version origin story, I'd have been interested in that. because you kind of already know the ending. But to do a completely and utterly different, not in the same universe type of thing with Phoenix walking, you don't really want any more than that. It would be okay, possibly cool to meet Batman, I guess, in a sequel, but it's the kind of thing where you always want to leave the audience wanting more, and that's exactly what they've done, and they should not go further than that.
Yeah, for sure. I think it with the Joker movie and like the reference to Bruce Wayne, kind of like, I think it would be cool if you did like a Batman movie, and then maybe brought Phoenix in as like an inmate at Arkham, and then you can like kind of speculate, oh, is this happening in the same universe? Did like Bruce's parents die during that riot that Joker caused? And you never really address it, and it's just like a kind of an Easter egg there. That could be pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. I just want to address Knights of Baller again. I'm so sorry, but we went on a tangent without you. But yeah, Baller, if you want to join us, that's absolutely fine. I mean, I can be here for a while. I don't know about anyone else. Okay. Next question was, I know that you says how long you've been like followed Mauler for, and you said so many things, but what made you continue after originally seeing him? If that makes sense, is that like a different question to what I've already asked?
Sure. Yeah, I would say it's a different question. So fucking hell, now I caught it. What made me stay? I think it's kind of like a combination of things. I really like the dynamic, as I said. So I kind of stayed for like Wolf and Mauler initially. Because I think they were like the guys with the most insights. And what made me also stick around was they were covering things that I was kind of thinking about, and it's kind of nice to have like someone else to give you a perspective and like help you kind of think. Like, I think we all kind of struggle with this sometimes. We're like, am I the only one thinking this? And then you go like,
Yeah.
thank God I'm not the only one. That for me was Game of Thrones. I fucking hated season 8. I was like, I can't be the only one that hates this. And that was one of the many parts where I got more hooked into EFAP because they were covering Game of Thrones. I was like, yeah, I really agree with this. I think Wolf was really good for that because Wolf had like knowledge of the books as well.
Well, to be honest with you, I don't see how you could hate the Battle of Winterfell because you couldn't see the thing.
That's very true.
Honestly, because my editing, I use Premiere Pro when I edit in my videos, and I just literally turned the lighting to the highest I could, where in any other situation it would be pure white on the screen. I could just about make it out. It was stupid, the color grading they did on that.
Yeah, for sure. I watched it in the original one on my phone, so I didn't see shit for like most of the action scenes. I just remember being like really angry at like the parts that I could see. So that was the ending. That was Arya surviving like all the bullshit, and I was really upset about how Barrick died as well. It was like,
Yeah,
I like
agreed.
it conceptually, but I don't think the way the show did it like worked because he just kind of like holds the door for Arya and Melisandre, who dies the morning after.
Yeah. But yeah, the Winterfell one. I literally was at a mate's house and we watched it in a pitch black room, and we were still squinting.
Yeah, that's
and essentially our eyeballs melted once the dragon started throwing fire. But Jesus Christ! But yeah, really, really, really bad. I don't know why I put this question down because as I read it out loud, it just makes no sense to
Can you
me.
give me a second? Sorry.
Yeah. Do. Baller, if you're here still, you can come on. Hint, 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 hint.
Sorry about that. I had an alarm set and I forgot I had set it, so I had to rush turn off my phone.
It's okay. I mean, if you need to go, it's completely
Uh,
fine.
I just have an alarm clock to remind myself that I have to brush my teeth because it's a habit I struggle with.
Okay, that's fair. Right. So, as I was just about to start to say, it's a really general question. It's like, I don't even know if I've wrote it down because it just seems stupid to ask. If you relate to Mauler, how? Question mark. And that could mean anything.
Yeah, fair enough. If I relate to Mauler, how? I'm not sure I do. Um, I'm one for like I really don't like the idea of like these what do you call them when you like build a relationship with like someone you don't really know,
Right.
parasocial relationships. That's it. Um, I'm not really a big fan of that. I think
Okay.
they can be kind of cringe because you like don't really know that person and stuff like that. So I wouldn't say I relate to Mauler that much. I think maybe I have a similar view of media, but that's kind of because of him. So
Okay. Cool. Um, Again, you probably answered this, but I'll ask again. Why do you watch his content? Inverted brackets, updates, POV, his voice again because Benedict
mm.
Cumberbatch style voice, escapism, insults to media, bad creators, etc., etc.
Yeah, sure. So I think it's like a combination of things. As I said, sometimes it's really nice to have like that outlet, like when you think something and you think like you're the only one. It's good to have someone you reference. And you're like, oh, I'm not the only one that's actually thinking this. Um, Alternatively, also, sometimes I just want his perspective on something. I know for like, or to stay caught up. Basically, like Mauler and crew is the way I consume Marvel nowadays. It's, they basically became the Marvel for me. It's just like stay caught up on like what's happening in that universe through EFAP.
Yeah.
Um, and I like superficially, yeah, the voice is really nice. But I wouldn't say I watch because of the voice. It's like just a benefit. It's good to have someone with good voice to listen to because sometimes you have a person that can make good points, but they're like the way they set things up. It's really difficult to watch them.
Yeah.
Um, I would actually ironically say that that's kind of a problem Acer Foreign had before he went absolutely insane. Um, which is like Acer made some interesting videos, and sometimes he makes like good points, but his like quality is absolute dog shit, and his mic is awful, and you just can't listen to those videos at all.
No. No.
And then you learn that the guy's insane, so you don't even feel bad about it.
um Funny thing, my wife actually, as because obviously listens to all the same people in the same kind of circuit, she absolutely hates listening to Gary from Nerdrotic.
Mm,
She doesn't know what it is, doesn't know about if it's his voice, the sarcasm in his voice, or whatever it is. It's not the fact that she doesn't like him. She cannot stand listening to him. However, really weird, she loves As from Hill versus Babyface,
mm.
and I thought that would have been the type of voice where that's nails on chalkboard compared to Mauler. Like what?
um, I kind of get what with like Gary. He has like this specific type of voice,
Yeah,
which I can definitely see how some people might find it annoying because I think he's kind of monotone at times. I
yeah.
think that's the good way to say it. Which can be infuriating to people. When it comes to Ass, I think Ass is pretty cool. I really like Ass and his voice. That
Oh yeah.
sometimes I feel like Ass can go on like a shouting fit. I'm like, okay, please stop yelling. You're blowing my ears off.
Yeah, but that's when you're gonna get the best content from him. I mean, the
True,
pronoun stuff is
true.
got people are gonna remember for years after freaking the gaming companies are gonna go bust.
Yeah, that is very iconic. Meme. Yeah, I like. As is a very interesting case. I don't know. Have you watched As before he like came on EFAP and stuff like that? Did you know about him?
I watched him. I watched him before I even knew about Mauler.
Yeah.
Because I used to watch Friday Night Tights and the Nerdrotic Nooner quite a lot, and then I subscribed to him and watched quite a lot of his content, like on a regular basis.
Mm.
So yeah, I've followed him for a very long time. I watched him when he used to do the whiteboards as the thumbnails, and everyone around him on Friday Night Tights were pissed off at him because they work so hard on their thumbnails, and he just puts a whiteboard up.
Oh yeah. Like with As, it's interesting because I remember As back when he did World of Warcraft content, like
Okay.
very very long time ago now. Like I don't know if you know this, but As made streams of like Asmongold and stuff like that.
No, I didn't
Like,
know.
yeah, he did back in the day when he covered WoW. There's a stream of him talking with Asmon and Bellier Gaming. It's very, very all lore at this point. So I remember As from those days, and I remember him coming on EFA. I was like, oh, hey, it's As from Heels versus Babyface. It was like, that guy used to make WoW videos. That's pretty cool. I remember him. And I found out that he does like culture war stuff now. I was like, oh, wow, that good for him. I'm like kind of like happy about As sticking around because usually like YouTubers that you know from like 10 years ago, like they usually don't upload anymore. So that was a very pleasant surprise for me.
Yeah. I couldn't bring myself to watch any of his videos on Batwoman.
Same.
Say Batwoman, should I say? No, because I thought I actually watched the maybe first couple of episodes, maybe one and a half with Ruby Rose, and I just couldn't. And I know he's kind of a masochist with that, and everyone's taking the piss out of it, but really sorry, As, but I just couldn't watch your videos, even though you're taking the piss out of her. He doesn't hold my attention to the point of, like, I know EFAP have done it. I know there's a video which I still need to watch for Batwoman, but if he were to be on EFAP Tune, that'd be great. But
Yeah.
I don't know. He doesn't hold my attention so much that I'd watch any of his videos.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. When it comes to As and like Batwoman, there might be like my bit of criticism, which is like sometimes a problem I have with like culture war stuff, which is I think people can get hung up on details that are not actually that criticism worthy. And
Yeah.
I think there was kind of a thing with As and Batwoman, which was like, oh, look at the amount of lesbians on screen. I was like, it's kind of silly, but I don't think that's a real criticism of the show, to be honest. It's
Right.
like, that's like a very unrelated topic. I think As is great usually.
Yeah, well, to be honest, I prefer to see him on Friday Night Tights as opposed to
Yeah.
his own channel. Number one, because on his own channel he talks really, really slowly, and it feels like forced speech sometimes. Don't know if you ever noticed that, but when on Friday Night Tights, he's obviously talking like we're talking now, just like I
Yeah.
and obviously they're constantly ripping the piss out of him. One thing that I love that I think he's only done it a couple of times, but Gary, when they're starting to like wrap up the show at the end, it's like going round the wire and saying, "Okay, guys, what you got coming up and stuff," and says, "So, As, what you got coming up?" And then as he's about to take his breath and he's about to speak, he cuts him right off the stream.
Yeah. Like how you mentioned, like you watch As only for Friday night sites. That's how like watch Gary usually. I think Gary's really good at streams. I'm not really into his like solo videos.
Yeah, the streams come more natural to him, but for the
Yeah.
life of me, I really wish he'd learn to read better. I don't think I don't think he should be allowed to read any more super chats. It should just be X-Ray Girl or Quarter Black. The amount of time it takes him to just read, and when someone tells a joke through a super chat, it's like you just took all the fun out of it. Love you, Gary, but come on, work to your strengths. Um, so yeah, I think we covered. What's your favorite? Oh yeah, so I know you mentioned a lot of great things about Mauler, but what would you be your favorite attribute about him?
My favorite, I would say it's probably his perceptiveness, as we talked about at the start of the stream.
Yeah. Okay. What do we content? Okay. Here's something to say, like put you on a spot. If you had the chance to say something to Mauler face to face, what would it be?
Yeah, I think we talked about this before. My answer back then was he should read more books, which I kind of still stand by. Again, I don't want to make like a media literacy argument because I think those are really bad. It's like a silly thing people say, but I think it's really nice to like engage in multiple types of medium, especially books, because books are very solid storytelling wise, and they have a very long history of like really good stories that you can go back to, and they're very good reference points. I feel like Mauler has like a big problem with the adaptation argument, as they call it, and I think it kind of stems from him not reading books that much.
Right.
Because I feel like when you personally like read a book and you really like it, you will always be like, oh, well, this adaptation that isn't faithful is bad just because it isn't faithful. It's like a very legit complaint, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But I would also add, on top of that, I would tell him to, unless they like squash the beef or something, if they're still like at bad terms, he should just address Southpaw's awful video about him, because I think it would only do him good. He would come out as the victor in that case because Southpaw's video is awful.
I need. Do you know what was the video? I'm actually going to write this down now. What's Southpaw's video called? Do you know? Can you remember?
It's like Law and Order something. Let me look this up. Southpaw Mauler. It's called Law and Border, EFAP's Unbridled Media Illiteracy. Speak of the devil.
Nice short title there. Bear with me.
It's 6.5 hours long.
Oh, that's nothing.
Yeah. It's very bad though. It is very bad.
That's not it. Oh, here we go. The Unborder EFAP's Unbridled Media. Oh, it is on Southpaw's channel. Good. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, that's added to my watch later. That's when saving for time when I feel like I hate myself. I'll be watching that.
Yeah. Just keep in mind when you watch that, Southpaw is a big liar. He straight up lies. It's a very interesting thing about him. So like when you watch it, like some of the things he says might just straight up not be true. Might be just straight up made up. If he sounds very convincing or something like that.
Okay. No, honestly, with the creators that Mauler has covered in the past, that's like run of the mill. That's just Tuesday for Mauler.
Yeah, well, Southpaw is more interesting, I feel, because I feel like there's like a personal sting to it. Because it kind of is he used to be on their show a lot and stuff like that, and I think he wants to be kind of vindicated. It's like a revenge quest for him, so it's much more interesting than when you watch like Organized Chaos, who's just being
He's just a dick.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas someone with like a really cringe vendetta because someone didn't like a show that you showed them.
Christ.
Yeah.
Not even like he's insulted his sister or something, or tried to get his girlfriend from him. It's like, just because you don't like a different show.
Yes.
Dude,
he will try and say that it's not about that at all, that it's like because he was bullied by the community and shit like that, but it is absolutely about terriers and the fact that Mauler didn't like the show.
God. Like I said earlier, you do really kind of go on the side of Thanos, and just natural selection just really isn't doing its job properly these days, is it? But yeah, you do kind of feel that way.
Yeah.
Okay. How has Mauler helped you? When I say this, I mean something along the lines of provided escapism when you need it, got you through bad times, past time at work, give you hope for something, that kind of thing. Um, you have an answer for that?
Oh yeah, sure. Mauler helped me when it comes to just like passing type. Sure. As I said, I really like to listen to EFAP and like um how would I say and just like listen to it whilst I do some stuff, some other stuff as well. But that's like a side thing. What Mauler really helped me with is like meeting people. I've met a lot of people through like the EFAP community when I meet someone. And we like sing the same memes and I like realized that we both watch EFAP and I made some pretty good friends that way. Um, I also kind of like learned to view media in a different way because I was very much like the type of like, oh, just turn your brain off, just like fucking turn into a corpse and just lay there in the seat
Yeah.
and absorb the movie. And he taught me kind of differently, and he kind of like spurred me on to want to do content. I still haven't done, but I really want to do one day release my video essay that I've been working on for quite a while now.
Okay. That's cool. Oh yeah, by the way, you've got a channel, right? What's your
Yeah.
channel? I mean, if you want to plug that, that's cool by me.
Uh, yeah. Oh, there's not much happening on the channel, but one day maybe there will be a Mass Effect video on the Berserker 21 channel.
Okay, cool. All right. So, how would you? Oh yeah, I think again you probably already mentioned this. What would you like to see from Mauler going forward? Is there anything that you'd change? I know were you the one who said go into things? Oh no, that may have been Tolkien. Go into things like literature, like EFAP books or something like that. Is there anything that you'd change to the format or anything they do?
Uh, yeah, sure. Well, when it comes to like EFAB literature, I think that's a novel idea. Uh, See what I did there? And
Um, you don't look. Don't do that when I'm trying to sip my drink. I actually genuinely almost snorted it out.
um, but it's like a thing that I'm not sure it's gonna happen because, as I said, I don't think Mueller consumes a lot of literature. It's like a thing would want him to do more. And if he did that, I think EFAB like books would be a really good concept for him to start doing that actually.
Right.
Um, but I think what I brought up was the EFAB gaming, and that's kind of what I would like to see is kind of restructure that because I think that EFAB gaming is currently the format that suffers the most.
Right.
I think EFAB movies is fine as it is right now, which is like it's pretty long, but yeah, it's doing the purpose and it's very interesting. Of course, the classic show. I had some points, but that I brought that up mostly in like the criticism section of the last stream. But when it comes to like EFAB gaming, I feel like that doesn't really have an identity, and I feel like just like a basic concept, like how Mauler streams video games to go through the story. Like he could just do that with the EFAB crew there with him, and if it's like a co-op game, they can like go through the story together and stuff like that. I feel like that would be pretty neat.
Okay. Um, is there anything that you'd like to ask about EFAP lads in this? Hang on, I need to reread this question because I'm just awful at putting sentences together. Um, I'm going to try and read exactly how it's read. Is there anything you want to say or ask about the EFAP lads in the same respect? I don't even know what that's in context to. Um, I think what I was trying to get to is the same respect as Mauler. What would you say to like Rags, Ring, and whatever if you got the chance to meet them?
Just what would I ask them? Would I like to
Rags,
speak to
calm
them?
down.
That would be a very good one. Yeah, Rex, calm down. I'm not sure.
Okay, just to kind of give a point of view here. So with Rags, I'd really love to know, unless he's already said it on a stream, I'd love to know how he knows all his stuff about like weapons and things. He seems to know every single thing about every weapon in existence.
Yeah, I think that's just like a thing that happens when you live in like the Midwest of the United States. You just automatically have all that knowledge.
Okay. Let's see here. How's my help you? What was I? Okay. You've already said hi, Rags, last time, so I won't ask you to do that again. Are there any criticisms you'd like to make? No one's perfect. No, there was so much of that last time.
Yeah.
Anything that... Okay, I'm not sure anyone said this the last time, but anything you want to ask other fans while you're on, like anything that you'd like to think, am I the only one who thinks this type of thing, as opposed to me asking you questions?
Sure. Is there anything I would ask the others? I kind of feel like I don't have like a pre-prepared question for this. I feel like this is like this guy. I feel like it wasn't asked, but it kind of became a thing with the discussion last time we had. It's just like a thing that just happens with a conversation with other people.
Okay. Because when you're like, it's different being a content creator because you get to see comments and everything coming from everywhere. But when you haven't got a channel, and you're just watching this kind of stuff, you're like, oh, relate to that. Oh, I agree with this. I didn't think I was the only person who thought this. And to actually think, like on certain episodes, I brought up the one where Rags was kind of ripping the piss out of Robert by Maya Burnett when the T-Rex, he thought he was realistic and stuff. I thought, am I the only one who thought that? Like, is there any experiences through EFAP or Mauler that you think, am I the only one who thinks this? Am I the only one who enjoys this in this way? Is there any? Does that make any kind of sense? I feel like I'm just rambling.
Yeah. No, I kind of follow what you're trying to say. Yeah, it's essentially like, is there something that you want to see if you like align with the other EFAP viewers on?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they would be like mainly a thing that we already addressed, which is like the Doomer thing, which I kind of felt I was alone on, and then I discovered that I am not alone in thinking that the Doomer conversation was kind of weird, and they went kind of south, and yeah,
a bit out of character for them.
Yeah.
Although they had been drinking, so that could be the reason for it. But yeah, fine.
It depends. Rax can be pretty funny drunk sometimes. It's on like a metal stream where he like gets really sloppy drunk and like almost cries there. It's really interesting stuff.
You know, I can't honestly tell the difference if Mauler's drunk or not, because he sounds exactly the same on EFAP as he does on Open Bar, where he's apparently drinking himself to death. It's a really weird thing. And then maybe sometimes when he's like laughing hysterically, it kind of sounds a little bit drunk. But outside of that, I would love to see him just absolutely go for it. Like, I know he was doing the shots and stuff on the hit and run thing with metal, but outside of that, I've never really I can't tell the difference between him sober and drunk. It's a weird thing.
I swear the only time I could like audibly like realize, oh yeah, Mauler's drunk is the Doomer stream for like the New Year's. Like, I think you can kind of tell that he's drunk during that.
Any creators which you would love him to actually have on stream, and it doesn't necessarily need to be with Fringy Rex or whoever. Anyone like for example, my suggestion would be, I would love to hear a conversation between him and Organized Chaos on the same stream, in the same way that Eric July had a conversation, and everyone just knows that went south. But yeah, I would just love to see that. Is there anyone that you would just love to have him have a conversation with that would, I don't know, maybe like has been bad faith, like Jack saying to someone? Is there anyone that you'd like to listen to for that? reason?
It would be like a really big shit show. But like the two ideas, one I wanted to bring up, which actually happened. If you asked me like a couple of months ago, I would say patrician TV. I always would see
Oh yeah.
Pat on EFAP, and when it happened, it was glorious. I was so happy. Um, but recently, I have maybe like an unexpected pick. I would really like to see Mauler talking to Doug Walker,
Okay.
because I feel like Doug is a very interesting character, which I'm really fascinated with. The nostalgia critic, because I think he gets a lot of shit. People like to make fun of him, and it's understandable. Like he makes cringe videos sometimes. He has like unfunny skits, but he's like a really nice guy, and I would like uh like to see him like, give chance like talk properly about media and movies in like the Mauler format. That would be pretty cool.
Hmm. How do you feel a conversation would go between Mauler and Chris Duckman?
Oh, probably not well. Jesus, Chris isn't a very big fan of criticism. If you've seen his reaction to
Oh yeah.
RLM, that
Oh
is
yeah.
like it's one of the funniest videos I've ever seen. Probably, it's fucking hilarious. Um, I think it would be something similar. I think Chris would be like very upset about them talking shit about him, and he wouldn't take it in good spirits.
Yeah, he'd just like exit the stream and just
Yeah,
like just go off on one.
yeah. I think like that conversation would probably never happen because Chris would refuse to talk to him in the first place. And if you were to like set it up in some way, I think he would probably get like really upset and probably leave or something.
You kind of almost wish they do like it. Did you ever see Celebrity Deathmatch?
No.
Essentially, this was on MTV many,
Uh-huh.
many, many, many years ago. I'm only 40, so I'm not that old, but I remember this. Um, essentially, like if you ever seen something like Chicken Run or Wallace and Gromit, those kind of like
Yeah,
clay
yeah.
figures that they animate, it's like that, but they're in like a wrestling ring, and they get random celebrities to fight each other. And you get like in character as well, so you get like Monica and Rachel from Friends like go at it with each other.
Mhm.
Like it's just freaking with a chainsaw and stuff. Like it's so freaking awesome. So I'd actually love it if they did the similar type of thing, but for content creators. So you get Mauler against Chris Stuckman, or you get Rags against Organized Chaos. Um, it's just yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's an interesting idea, I guess. Hmm.
Yeah, some animator's going to do it.
Yeah,
Please just
yeah.
give us that.
And actually, just like a quick aside to not go completely quiet, since we mentioned like taking criticism in good spirits, which is like a thing why I would like, and I think it could be possible to have a conversation with Doug, because Doug is a person that is actually very good at taking criticism. I don't know if you've ever seen like the comparisons between him and Linkara when Oni made a video about them.
Right.
Where Doug is like a really humble guy and he like takes it and laughs at the jokes they made at his expense, whereas Linkara gets like really upset about it and like starts banning people and shit like that. And this is why I feel like that conversation would actually be like really productive and it could actually happen. It's like something that's actually feasible.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Where are we now? Just want to make sure no one's trying to enter. Yeah. Unless you got any other thoughts, I'm going to probably call it a day soon. This is
Yeah.
anything else you want to say?
Uh, Nothing at the moment, at the very least.
Oh, hang on.
No.
Tolkien's in. Okay. I'm going to bring Tolkien Shirt in because he's just made an appearance. Are you good with that?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Hi.
Hey,
Hello.
man. Hey, how you doing? Good to see you back. Hello.
I'm good. How are you? Hi.
I think there's a delay again. Sorry about
Yeah.
that. Any thoughts about? Because I've seen you in the chat earlier on. Any thoughts about what we've been talking about today?
Well, I see that you have finished all the questions, so I brought some of my own. If you're okay with it.
No, absolutely.
First of all, Christmas or Halloween? What do you choose?
Halloween every single time. Christmas, there's too much of a. And I see what you're doing here. You're trying to bring tangents upon us. Christmas, there's too much expectation with presents and like cooking and stuff like that. Halloween, it's like New Year's for me. You just go out, get wasted, or dress up in costumes and that. There's no real expectation except to have fun. So that's why I like Halloween better than Christmas.
I'm definitely team Christmas, but I'm kind of biased because I come from Eastern Europe and we don't do Halloween, so.
Boo.
That's the same for me. I'm also from Eastern Europe, and well, I've never celebrated Halloween, so easy choice.
Okay, next question.
Who is your favorite guest?
Can I say me? Every single one of you. Does that count? I like every one of you for different reasons. I honestly, the one that really sticks out in my mind is Mauler, because of the amount of freaking tangents that he just didn't want me to keep on to Mauler whatsoever. That it is great. Matt, obviously, like you, because you just basically with the whole, not negative, but you speak your mind. You're not afraid to do that. You're just really good in that way. I mean, I didn't want this stream or any of these streams to be just me kissing Mauler's ass all the time, and I like that you just brought that other perspective. And like you said about Mauler himself, that you'd like people to make you think. So yeah, I like that about you. Tolkien, you kind of humbleized, if that's even a word, Mauler, because I'm really struggling to think of how I want to put this. When you started to talk, because obviously you're like Christian and kind of coming from that side, there's things you about I can't even remember what word you used, like almost divine, I guess I think you said. It's a very good perspective of Mauler that I never even thought about, like the righteous and bringing truth to everything, in the same way of making me think in a way that I didn't think of him before. So yeah, everyone has a different thing, and I loved, and for the life of me I can't remember what his name is, the other guest that we had, hates rags. That's good by me, I guess, I suppose. Does that answer the question?
Well, yes, but actually no, because it was a question: who is your favorite guest on EFAP? But thanks for sharing your perspective on this stream.
I figured, yeah.
I thought you meant to. Yeah, thanks for stopping me early on, for God's sake.
Well, it was nice to hear nice things about myself.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Also, I like your accent, if that counts. Favorite guest? When you say guest, do you mean people who they bring on every so often, or do you mean the main three?
Well, those people that do not appear regularly.
Okay. I suppose metal would be my favorite of the
metal
people.
Counts.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Okay.
So, I'm sorry, the delay.
It's okay. Tough to say because I have so many on, and the thing is, because a lot of the people that they have on, I watch on a regular basis, so I don't necessarily think of them as guests, like Nerdrotic and as a few other people. Have they had badge? No, not baggage claim. If I had to pick an absolute favourite who isn't necessarily on EFAP all the time, it's got to be the critical drinker. But again, I don't even feel that's a proper answer because his kind of with Mauler on open bar. I don't honestly think I can answer that question properly because I have too many guests on, if that makes sense.
Tolkien, by the way, are you listening to the stream through YouTube or through StreamYard?
Through StreamYard, yeah.
Huh. I'm just kind of like trying to figure out where the delay is coming from.
Do you have YouTube on as well as StreamYard, or is it just StreamYard you're on?
YouTube is paused right now.
Oh.
Okay, that's fine.
I can just quit it, but...
it's okay.
Yeah, I guess we can deal with it. It's just I was trying to figure out. I guess we won. Just to answer your question quickly, I would personally say that my favorite guest on EFAP is Jay Longbone. I think she's very funny.
Yeah. What he said.
Cool. For me, I love every time that Shadowversity appears and meme repository. And finally, she was only a few times, but Natsa, if you remember her, she was great as well.
Yes, I think. Chad, I feel is more not necessarily a regular guest on EFAP. I feel that it's more of a Friday Night Tights personality of more than anything else. So I don't necessarily associate with him, and I can never really remember too much of him being on EFAP. The issue with saying that is because they are very much intertwined with all these different ensembles, like it kind of bleeds into each other. So yeah, I think my best answer would probably be Critical Drinker because he's on there sometimes, but not enough to be a regular. So I can probably say, yeah, favorite guest probably. Is that a very long-winded way of saying that?
True Mauler fashion.
Yeah. Okay, hit us again.
All right, so Matt, you already answered that, but maybe something more about that. Do you ever rewatch EFAPs?
Yeah, I personally, rewatch basically all the time. I have several specific ones I go back to, which is like the Boogie one, actually, for some reason. I don't know why. It's a really funny one to re-listen to. I re-listened to them covering Squid Game as well. And especially from this period and from Phase 4 of Marvel. It's maybe it's a specific time period that I associate with watching EFAP in that time, and kind of it's a bit of a throwback every time.
I can't remember numbers, but I remember what they were talking about. I've rewatched the Joker twice with the Jeb. I've actually, and I can't believe I'm about to admit this, I've actually rewatched the entire EFAP of The Last of Us, the entire series, by the way, 3 times.
That's fair.
And the other one has to be Lord of the Rings. I can't just watch that one once.
For me, it's a little difficult because they put out so much content that I don't have time to catch up with all of that. So I don't have time to rewatch those EFAPs that have already been watched by me. Once that I watch every EFAP that I want to watch, I will go back to my favorites. But now I only rewatch Mauler on his main channel, and I think that I have watched MOM 2 or 3 times.
Yeah. Do you feel that do you ever go back to watch now that they've made the new channel? Do you go back to watch the highlights often? like as in like because there was certain specific subjects within the like 12-hour live stream, for example. It's obviously like 20 minutes, half an hour that's just cut out of that. Do you feel that you go back to watch them quite often?
Well, yes, I do. Before EFAP Highlights was created, there were several channels that uploaded some bits of the streams, and I remember watching them many times. So yeah, I do that.
Okay.
I personally don't watch like EFAP highlights regularly. It's just like because I watch EFAP, I get them recommended sometimes, and when it's like, oh yeah, I remember that moment, I'll go watch that.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Next question.
Unfortunately, that's all.
Okay.
And I think I won't stay for much longer because it's still late where I am.
Yeah. To be quite honest, I didn't want to go for another 5 hours today. I'm absolutely exhausted.
Understandable.
Yeah, because only if someone else now would come on, then I'd probably stay. But honestly, I've had such a long day myself here. It's so early to get to work in the morning. I kind of need to go myself.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm not sure if someone is like in the back room or something.
No. It's just the three of us. Shami, Baller, they're not interested today. I don't think that they're higher beings than us now. They look down at us. We're just the common folk. Yeah.
2 hours. That's good.
Yeah. To be honest, I was just wanting to test out this vertical feature. Now that we're actually on that subject, how do you like this kind of how do you like this format? Because the way it goes is that you'd have the normal streamers, you'd like click on it and you'd have to go separately to chat. But now if you're on mobile and you're already in the shorts feed, you go onto a video and then you click on that to say, and you see there's a live icon, you click on it and then it comes to the live stream and you see it in such a way that it's like on TikTok where the comments are overlaying the video itself. It's a different way and it's being pushed out to a lot more people as opposed to like on here. I'm probably lucky to have about 3 or 4 people watching it at any given time, and it went to about 10 earlier at one point. Which is good for me because like I've not long started this channel. I've had a couple of other people who like have had 10 times more viewers doing this way. But how do you like this format is the question, I guess.
I don't know if Tolkien uses mobile because my insight is not going to be really great because I'm on PC right now.
Okay.
I'm also on PC, and I do not watch YouTube Shorts, so
Yeah,
not much experience.
I might get back to you in the comments later. Like if I try to view it on mobile, then yeah.
Okay. Shamrock, it's okay. It's been a busy day for everyone. Plus, happy St. Patrick's Day, everyone. I think we're the only 3 sober person on the planet at the moment doing this. Okay, I'm going to finish up here. Thank you guys so much for coming on. Again, if you want to plug your channels, that is goodbye me.
I'll let the person that actually does YouTube go first.
Yep. Tolkien, right, so anything coming up? What do you do, etc.?
Oh no!
Recently released my Dune review, and that was the first. And
sorry, Tolkien, you're gonna have to restart that because you completely literally your audio just went for a good like 10 seconds there.
All right. So again, I've recently released my Dune review, and that was the first video I've made for 7 months. And yeah, I'm really glad that I'm back to making videos, and I currently don't have any specific plans, but I'll be well preparing something for sure.
Okay.
So yeah, the name of the channel is visible. It's the Talking Shed, and so yeah, it's well, I'm really proud of what I do, but there's still place for improvement, and I hope that you'll join me on my journey if anyone listens to that, and you in the stream as well.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
fair enough.
I've actually subscribed. So yeah, I actually was gonna go through in a couple of days, like all the new people like that I've met through here, and actually like start to watch the stuff to see what kind of things you do. So yeah, I look forward to that.
Yeah. So just for me, it's like if you enjoy the sound of my voice and you're maybe curious to hear me talk about how much I love Mass Effect 1, you can subscribe to my channel and maybe one day that video will come out. Alternatively, you can watch my live stream archives. That's all there is.
Cool. All right, I'm going to finish up here. So, as I say at the end of all my videos, would you like mayo with that? Bye.
So yeah.
Bye.